Hi! If you're new to my channel, welcome, and if you've been here before, nice to see you again. Today I'm filming my first reptile-related video, and if you've watched the update video, you would know that I am adding and removing certain types of content. So if you haven't seen that video yet, please check it out. I'll leave a card somewhere in here just so you can stay up to date on all the changes that are happening on this channel. Today I'm gonna give you a little tour of my turtle's tank. I just got my turtle recently and it's an albino red-eared slider and it's still a baby. If you're wondering why I'm referring to my pet as the turtle or it or why it doesn't have a name yet, that's because I don't know whether it's a he or she. It's still pretty small to tell. So I decided to set up a temporary tank instead of buying one because of that reason. I don't know how big it's gonna get. Typically, male red-eared sliders can get up to 8 inches in length, while females can get up to a foot. And turtles need at least 10 gallons of water per inch of shell. So that's a 40-gallon difference minimum, and that's pretty big. The other reason that I sort of touched on in my update video is that we're moving to our house in November, and as I mentioned earlier, turtle tanks can get pretty big, so I'm trying to avoid buying and moving fragile things. I'm just too scared of breaking things during the move, and the thought of moving my nano tanks, my leopard gecko enclosure, and my IKEA greenhouse cabinet is already giving me anxiety, so I'm trying to put off buying that turtle tank. But having said all of that, I still wanted to make sure that whatever temporary setup I have is big enough for my turtle, which is why I specified in the title of this video that it is a temporary setup for baby or hatchling turtles. Emphasis on temporary because I plan on switching it out immediately once we're in the house if the tank that I want specifically is available, as there is a shortage of glass tanks right now. I apologize for the long intro, but I wanted to make sure I said all of that. So if you're planning on following my setup, just know that this is only for babies or really small turtles. This is not meant to be a permanent housing situation, but it is definitely better than those cheap turtle habitats you can find online. This video is strictly an overview of my setup. It is not a turtle care video, so please do your research if you plan on buying a turtle because they are a lot of work. If you would like a separate turtle care video, let me know in the comments down below and I'll happily make one. Okay, let's get into it. This is my plastic bin setup for my turtle. It was super easy to put together. I didn't really have to do anything complicated. With the exception of the basking area, everything is pretty much straight out of the box and into the bin. So the first thing you'll need to make this is obviously a plastic bin. The one I'm using is a 15-gallon IKEA Samla. There are bigger and taller plastic bins, but those have a tendency to bulge and bow when filled with water, so I opted for a shallow bin to prevent that. There are 4 important things needed in every turtle setup: a good water filter, a good water heater, plus a UVA and a UVB source. Because this is temporary, I didn't want to spend too much on the filter and heater, but I still wanted to pick things out that work for my setup. I am using the Tetrafauna Reptile filter, the 90 GPH one, and the Tetrafauna aquatic reptile heater. If you are gonna set up a bigger tank, and by bigger I mean more than 15 gallons, then I don't recommend these. But if you're following my exact setup, then these work great. You basically just take them out of the box and stick them in. They are a little finicky, so I understand the bad reviews online, but there are ways around the problems most people complain about, though I won't talk about them here. If you are, however, interested in a review of these products, also let me know in the comments down below and I'll gladly talk about them. But For what it's worth, they've worked perfectly fine for me. A lot of setups I've seen use separate bulbs for their UVA and UVB sources. I only use one. This is probably the most expensive thing in this setup, but it definitely helps keep everything clean. It's the ZoomMed 80 watt Power Sun UV bulb. It is a mercury vapor bulb and it gets extremely hot. So I use it with the ZoomMed Mini Deep Dome lamp fixture. You don't want your turtle's basking area to be too hot or not warm enough, so adjust the light to see what works. For this, I use the ZoomMed Reptile lamp stand. It's convenient because it has knobs that let you bring the light up or down, forward and backward. Plus, it helps secure the light to make sure it doesn't topple over. It has a flat base, so I just stuck that under the plastic bin for extra security. Now that we've got those 4 essentials covered, let's move on to the basking area. Every setup needs one in one form or another, and I decided to build one just so the turtle has more space to move around in, and it's really not as complicated as it looks. It's just a little time consuming, but it's really not that expensive at all. I used 2 4x2 feet plastic egg crates, which I got from my local hardware, but you can probably get away with just using one if you make your basking area a little smaller than the one I have. I'll post the measurements in the description box below, but building it is as simple as measuring, cutting, and tying everything together with cable ties. There are so many tutorials out there, and depending on whether I'm done filming it by the time this video is up, I might have one on Instagram and TikTok. Other than that, I just have a small light under the basking area just so I can see inside the tank, and for that I'm using the Tetra 6-inch hidden LED stick. A couple things you might want to add to your setup are a thermometer and a smart switch, just so you can monitor the water temperature, because that is very important for baby turtles, and so you can automate when the lights turn on and off. I used pool filter sand to line the bottom of the bin and a sand mat to line the basking area. Plus, I also bought big river rocks, driftwood, and fake plants to decorate, and threw in a feeding dish and small container for the turtle's calcium and greens. The turtle does have a separate container for feeding so the water doesn't get too dirty, and I have a turkey baster for spot cleaning. And really, that's about it. I really love this setup. I think it looks nice and clean, and if you decide to build your own, tag me on Instagram because I'd love to see it. If you have questions, leave them down below or tweet me and I'll be sure to answer them. And if you like my content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on new videos. Thank you for dropping by, and I'll see you soon. Bye.